sanity. Did I hear well?
Who
Who
sent
sent me and all of that? My guest is your personal financial coach and trainer, Tobore Olumoye. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good
Are,
to be here, Dennis.
are your students listening?
They're listening. Are they implementing? Oh my
Are your
word!
students listening? I had to ask that
They're all going through a lot.
they're all going through a lot.
Oh, but they are listening. And
Yeah.
for those who are implementing, there's so much in terms of testimonials because the principles don't change.
And just so you know, former banker right here. So she has dealt with the numbers. She has seen a lot of things behind. So when you guys are ranting outside, they are in the banking industry. They know what's happening with the ones and twos and everything. So she's the best bet for this conversation because as a former banker, she may have come across people who have come to the bank. I want loan.
And they don't know why you're not giving them.
And they don't know why you're not giving
You
them.
people are wicked. You don't want to help.
So let's start from the very beginning. Ma'am, before people even start writing a business plan, that is if people even do, what are the three fundamental questions about their own idea and financial situation they must answer honestly to determine if they are truly ready to seek external capital?
Dennis, so I'm going to start from the beginning.
And she's very blunt too, so
Thank God you used the word because I wanted to even say it. I think one thing people need to learn to do is to be brutally honest to themselves. We have way too many people living in a cloud, in a bubble. And in the example you gave about someone who started a business and felt, oh, I have the best solution. Oh, everybody is obese and wants to lose weight. Oh, everybody is, everybody wants beautiful, long-lasting hair. It's not true. You cannot assume. You must first of all get what is the truth, and it has to be data-backed or data-driven. So for those who want people to come into their business, meaning funding, you don't have enough money, you want to go into business, meaning you want another human being who has worked hard for his money to come and put his money inside your own dream or your own vision, or you need to answer some questions. And I like to say that even if you don't answer too many questions, you should answer at least three very simple questions. The first one...
Let me bring out my notes.
The first one is, this is my idea. Is it a real opportunity or it's just a passion? Is it really an opportunity? Because sometimes when we are so passionate about our ideas, we tend to think that our passion is therefore reality. You must answer the question, and you should be able to step away from yourself and answer. For instance, if you say it's a real opportunity, can you specifically state the problem it is going to solve? Because if it's an opportunity, there has to be a problem. So what is the problem it's going to solve? State it clearly. Let us know. Then ask yourself, does it have a target market? And this is where the difference is. Many people say, oh, Nigeria is a large target market. Oh, everybody here wants to make money. Who told you? The question that you want to ask yourself about your target market, are they willing and able to pay? Because those are two different things. Some people are willing, but they don't have the ability. Some people have the ability, but they are not willing to pay. So those two must be present to show that the business idea is viable. You also want people to ask themselves, when they are trying to state whether it's a passion or it's a real opportunity, you also want them to ask, does it have a competitive advantage? There are already people inside that market. What do you want to use to remove the people that are in that space so that people don't pay them and they pay you instead? If you cannot answer that very simple, at least that first question about whether it's an opportunity or whether it's just passion, then you've not started. Now you want to ask, and this is where the banks would usually come in. When you bring a beautiful idea, the bank will say, okay, it sounds really good. Now can you show us proof that this thing you said is hot cake, everybody is asking for it? Please show us proof that some people have even asked for it. Some people have even bought it. Show us that there is actually there's an existing custom. So if you say, oh, everybody wants to drink natural juices, can we see how many people you have actually sold natural juices too. That's when you don't hear people say, it's not as if I have really sold Sha. But if you go online, you will see that everybody is talking about health. Okay, you are not serious. Now, you also want to ask, do you have an idea? So, because most people come for funding, they show that the ideas are lofty. If you look at the business plan, is highfalutin. We're asking you, do you have, there's a term for it, MVP, do you have a minimum viable product, a product that shows that this is how it is in a prototype form. If I can just get funding, it can explode. In other words, I've tested it in a small concept, I've tested it in a small space. It is viable. People, there's a high demand. Last week, people asked for 1,000 units, but we're only able to do 50. This week, they have asked for 2,000, but we're only able to do 55. Then whoever wants to invest will say, okay, this looks interesting. The people asking for this thing, where are they coming from? Then your founder or proposer, or should we say potential founder, will say, okay, this looks interesting. I would like to look more at it. Not the one that is on paper. You think everybody wants it. So that's the second question you want to ask. And you have to be very honest about it. And of course, the third one has to do with the behavior. And this is where my interest is. The financial discipline of the owner of the business. You see some people, and I have so many examples. I remember in banking, there was one man we lent money to. I remember at that time, this was like 2009. We advanced him some money. It was 40 million. I can't forget. And a very good God-fearing somebody. The next thing I started hearing was, T, because people call me T. He said, T, come and look at these pictures. He was showing me, let me not call the brand, but SUVs, really exotic. He said, this one will look really nice. I said, oh, guys, excuse me, I don't understand. Why didn't you show me this picture before we gave you this loan? Because this loan, we've given you a loan, the next day you're showing me a picture that has nothing to do with the credit we have. He said, oh, no, sorry, don't mind me. I was just thinking that I think I need a new car. I said, where are you getting the money from? He said, oh, it's true. I don't even have money. So can you imagine? Meaning that if I wasn't there to bring him back to his senses, he would quickly have diverted the funds. So the third question is, do you have the financial discipline for the business? And these three questions must be answered.
All right, we need to go on a commercial break. When we come back, conversation continues. Remember, we're talking funding for business ideas. Stay tuned.
50 million. When am I getting my 50 million back? How much are you giving me every year? How much are you giving me every month? What are the chances that I will lose my money? In the chance that I lose my money, what am I going to get in exchange? Are you giving me equity? Do you have assets we can trade off? What exactly am I getting out of this? So most of the time, these are the ways the conversations move from seed to structured.
Moving from seed to structure. Now, let's move on to the next level. Beyond the traditional bank loans and equity investors, what are some of the underutilized or innovative funding channels small and medium-sized enterprises should be actively exploring right now? Now, let me give you a practical example. Some innovator came up with something novel, a stove that cooks without fuel.
Oh, really?
Running on water. Had some prototype designs and everything. Tried to pitch, sold the idea. Was thinking that the government will look at that area and want to possibly invest. I mean, let us own this. Maybe the state government, the local government. Let us say that Nigeria has invented the first stove that runs on water. Blah de blah de blah. And this guy was disappointed.
It shocked him.
It shocked him that he told them this is what it is. I mean, they said bring your strong reasoning. He brought everything, and he said what he just needs is funding to replicate this in XYZ quantity. This is how much.
He went to whom? He went to the government.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was pitching
to government. Okay.
Oh, shouldn't he try? Shoot his shot, aim higher. You know, I mean, why go small when you can go big?
Big or go home.
Go big or go home. Exactly. So there is government. People have been pitching. There's the Bank of Industry. People are saying, come and take loans with just your certificate and all of that. They're saying, oh, come, we can do this. We can give you this loan. They're encouraging more women too to come and take loans to start businesses at 0 interest rates and all of that. But some people are still finding it difficult to get those things. And then there are the banks, of course, and every other person who people are looking forward to getting loans from. And maybe those sectors are not working anymore. Are there sectors that we have underutilized over the years in seeking funding for business ideas?
Yeah, so first of all, Dennis, I need to let people know that sometimes what your business needs, again, you need to ask yourself the very honest questions. What exactly am I looking for? Am I looking for money? Let me give examples. You might ask yourself, am I looking for money? Or I'm looking for visibility? Or I'm looking for customers? Or I'm looking for a mentor? Or I'm looking for opportunities or access to market? These are different answers. If you're looking for visibility, you don't need money. If, for instance, let me just use Dangote's name very loosely in this example. If I have a business today and I had someone offer me, say, okay, let me give you 50 million versus let me ask Dangote to announce your brand to the world. Of course, I'm not going to accept 50 million. Because if Dangote announces my brand, what he has done is that he has backed my brand with the power of his brand. And his brand is worth more than 50 million. So with that, I will get access. There are people who will say, oh, is that your brand that Dangote mentioned? Oh, because he has mentioned it. If he even, what am I even saying? He doesn't even need to mention it. If he wears let's say he wears my shirt and accidentally my logo showed or my brand label showed, Lobaton, I'm made. I will use that thing as advert. Do you know that it's my shirt that is
the richest man in Africa?
Do you understand? And automatically that's going to give me not just, it will give me more than money. So people are even going to be willing to say, take money in advance and so for me. And I can say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm fully booked for the rest of the year.
Yeah, start to pride. No.
Based on, not my personal pride, priding based on a name as big as that. So I like to tell people, be very sure what exactly you want so that you don't go and ask for money when what you want or what you can get is more than money. Sometimes you can use what you have to get what you need. A good example would be, let's say LPO financing. You already have an order, a purchase order from an organization that is A-list organization. You can take, even if you don't have the money to finance that order, you can take the order to a bank. The bank looks at the order, confirms that that order is valid, they can pay the organization directly, and then, or they pay your supplier directly. You go pick up the goods, you do the supply. When they make payment, you pay the bank off and you take the spread. Sometimes you can also get one very common one in banks, and we used to do that a lot in those days, was invoice discounting. So I've already made the supply. Let's say an IOC asks me to supply them 5,000 cartons of Christmas hampers, for instance. And I've used my money, I've made the supply. But after making the supply, I'm going through a lot is going through me, because they are telling me they will pay me in 90 days. Meaning that for the next 3 months, hunger will finish my destiny. But I need money to also do other supplies before their payment comes. And their payment is big. I can take that invoice, which has been accepted by the IOC, to my bank and say, look, I've made this delivery, it's confirmed. All the bank needs to do is to go back and confirm that invoice. Once they have it, they see it in the system, they will advance me some percentage. So if I say maybe in that transaction I made 60% profit, if they advance me even 20%, it's enough for me to run my system till the next payday. There are many of those kinds of things. There's something the supermarkets enjoy, which is basically like a supplier's credit kind of thing. I have the shop, I have the visibility, I have the foot traffic. People come into my shop. I don't think I really need to go to a bank to collect money to stock my shop. Since I have good foot traffic, I can ask vendors to come put your goods on my shelves, and I will pay you, give you 90 days, but I'm selling out in 10 days. In fact, if you've supplied to supermarket, that's how they run the payroll. I will churn out those goods maybe every 10 days, maybe every 5 days, if they're fast moving. But I'm paying you at the end of 30 days or at the end of 40 days, meaning that I'm going to keep turning over your goods. I don't need to go to the bank. You can also meet family and friends. But for many people, and I need to say this to you, Denise, for people, if you know that in future you're going to ask people for help, try and have good character. A lot of people, they cannot even go and meet your mother to fund your business, because, I mean, if the 200 naira she gave you to go and buy something, you bought it in 20 naira, I want 80, you have not brought it back. You borrowed from your brother, he told him it was a loan. He lent you the money. Next you say, brother, they forget money. And you don't have your baby brother. So you have consistently built a track. You have track record of, I'm going to use this word very loosely, of dishonesty. You're a dishonest person. In fact, if you want to call it the real name, you're a fraudulent somebody. So when you come back to this same family and friend and tell them, you have this beautiful idea that, you can make fire out of space, they'll say, I tried. That thing sounds very nice, but you will not get. Because family and friends are typically the first people who should be able to believe in your dream. But once you've burned those bridges, chances are you can no longer go to them. So those are some of them. Of course, you can do crowdfunding. Esusu. This is informal. Esusu, by the way, for those who don't know, that's true. It's crowdfunding.
It's Akawo now.
Yeah. There's Esusu.
But just pray the person does not run away with the money.
Then you now start having prayer and fasting.
Or the person doesn't have dementia.
Or amnesia. Or does not relocate. But among people who trust themselves, who have the same kinds of interests, you can have those kinds of contributions, those kind of schemes among people of same interest or same social network. And I've seen people do really big stuff. They've built hotels, they've built resorts from amongst themselves. I've also seen people who are able to grow their businesses from having one basket of tomatoes to having a stall to doing supplies from just simple akawo. But it comes back to the same currency of trust. Whenever you destroy trust, you are also destroying your future sources of income. So these are some ways people can explore. And for the guy who's going to government first, it sounds nice. Government is our father, right? But you also need to know where's your father's interest at this point in time. If that's not the one doing government, it doesn't matter how beautiful the idea is, they are not going to support it because they'll tell you there's no budget for it. Even the Ministry of Technology, they'll tell you it's a good idea, but that's not the one doing us at this particular time. Because remember, there's a budget at the beginning, and that's the budget they will run for. And before that budget is approved, they already know the projects that will go into it. You want to ask yourself, why don't I approach maybe there are social groups, there are NGOs, there are foundations that are designed to say, okay, we want to battle climate change, for example. Look for those kinds of grants. And by the way, there are so many grants. If you are a woman and you are looking for money, there are grants that are gender-based. People are looking for women to lend money to. If you go to Smeda and every day they are shouting, come and take money, come and take. But the women cannot come because they don't have proof of competence. They don't have anything to show that they actually have a business. They don't have anything to show that the business is in existence. So there's money available, but people cannot access it because they do not have proof. And those who have proof, most times they don't need to take loans because their businesses can use any of the other models to access.
Okay, moving on. Let's go to red flags, shall we? Every now and then, let's use River State for example. We have this seminar, that seminar, this conference, that conference, and at the end of the day, there's always a segment that has been created for SMEs to come and pitch to investors. And they say, at the end of the day, the person with the best pitch gets 1 million, even as little as 100,000, 200, as much as 20 million. The list goes on and on. In your experience, what are the 3 biggest red flags in a business pitch or a business plan that almost immediately causes the lenders or the investors to reject an application? And how can founders avoid them?
So, if you look at those first 3 questions, the first 3 brutally honest questions I asked you to do, in fact, those are typically the things the founders will look at. We want to be sure that a big red flag will be, we cannot see the business. In this your pitch, I'm looking for the business. And Denise, I sit on panels a lot where people come to pitch. By the way, with all due respect to female businesses, one thing I've seen that is a pattern for most female, and this is for small-scale entrepreneurs, they're afraid of talking about numbers. You are coming to pitch, you're telling someone to bring money, and you're afraid of calling numbers. It's a red flag because you are telling me stories that numbers can tell. Madam, this money we are giving you, what exactly do you want to use it for? And they're saying, well, you see, actually, once we start, and once I hear actually more than 2 times in that your sentence, I just know that actually, true, you don't even know what to say. So a big red flag will be, we cannot see the business from one end to the other. You are not mentioning numbers, you're not mentioning figures, you are telling me that there's a business, and I cannot see the need that the business is solving. So the inability to show the need and the solution in your pitch is already a red flag. Another red flag would be, you cannot prove to me that you are competent to manage the business. I cannot see competency, there's no proof of competency, and by extension, no proof of capacity. I hear people say, I want you to give me 10 million naira, and I'm looking at the person that wants 10 million naira. If he shows me in his family tree, his father has never touched 10 million. His mother has not touched. He himself has not seen 100,000. His descendants don't look like they have seen 10,000. Oga, where did you get this 10 million? He said, I like to think big. You're thinking big with another person's money. There's no capacity. You have never touched the most you have touched in your life. And we are saying, show us the most money you have ever touched. And you're calling 10,000. So where are you saying 10 million from? It's a big red flag because as an investor, all I can see is that you want to take my money and go and flex. You must show me capacity. If you have done, say, 10,000 before, and you show me proof of 10,000, and I can say that the thing limiting you to 10,000 is lack of funds, I will gladly double it because you have shown me proof. But when you can't show me 10,000, I ask you for 10 million. Over the 10,000, I can't give it to you. So most investors are looking out and saying, the person that is pitching is not showing capacity and is not showing competence. So I am going to be very reluctant to show him. And of course, we want to even see the product itself. We're looking at this product or service, whatever it is, and we are not seeing that it is viable. Let me give a good example. And for anybody who is in our present climes, the person will understand. If someone were to come to me today, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to mention it, but even those in that business space should bear with me. And you were to come to me, not just me, or to a bank and say, I need you to finance importation of generators for the next 10 years, and you want me to give you, say, $15 million to fund it, I'm sorry, but we will struggle to give you that money, because we are looking at the product you want to bring in, and we are looking at the trend of the times. Is the world moving towards that kind of energy, or the world
climate
is moving,
change,
and
gas emissions,
and people are going to inverter, people are going to alternative sources of power, and they are telling me you want to bring. So who are you going to sell these things to? So we are looking at the product, the person behind the product. We're also looking at the environment. Each of them has its own red flags that investors will look out for.
All right, then 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Again, 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Now, the question for you, the listener, is simple. For you that has started a business, for you looking to start a business, what would you say is the most unexpected or unconventional source of funding that ultimately helped people, you or anybody, launch or grow a business? Was it inheritance money?
Okay.
Someone died and you just realized in the will, hey, this person left 10 million naira for you. Hello, God, I've answered my prayer. Did you have to sell properties? Lands, buildings? Did you have to sell shares? Did you have to do akawo, esusu? Did you meet somebody, pitch to them? Did you just get a business card and the person says, come to my office? And they came, and then you saw that manifest for you in a good way. You can either send in your message or a call. Our WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. Again, WhatsApp and Telegram number 0809-030-6416. And the number to call remains 0817-923-0002. Beyond the red flags, beyond the honest questions you should ask and answer honestly, let us move on to the final, what's it called now, on our list.
Dennis, I'm sorry to interrupt you. In addition to the red flags, there's one that is extremely important. I kept forgetting it. Investors want to see how you are going to get the customers. It is extreme. In fact, for me, when you are pitching, I'm listening to you. I want to see, because the money you are going to use to pay me back will come from the customers.
Okay.
Especially for those in the retail space, I want to see how you are going to bring those customers into the business. A lot of people tend to say, "Oh, I'll use social media marketing. I'll use paid ads. It's too generic." We want you to show us that first of all, the market exists, and that this is exactly what you are going to do, gongo, to bring in the customers. I forgot to say that, but that's one of the major red flags.
How the customers are coming, so we know how we are getting our money back. Very good. Now, when comparing different funding options, how should an entrepreneur truly calculate and weigh the long-term cost of capital? Beyond just the interest rate or the percentage ownership? You'll agree with me that some people that are investing in your business, they don't want you to pay back. They want to own shares. They want to own a part of the business. A lot of times when you hear co-founder, the co-founder did not do nothing.
Oh, yeah.
The co-founder only brought one person had the idea, one person had the capital. So, yeah, let's do this, and they are making profit over time. And then towards the end, it seems like monkey they walk, bamboo they chop. I mean, for those of you that saw To Kill a Monkey, what's the other guy? Boss had the network, had the structure, had the finance, had anything. Ifthey, on the other hand, had the brains. And at some point, it seemed like, true. Somebody now give somebody food shop. So that person then give food shop. No fit talk anyhow. And then you don't want to get to that point where you're losing your business, because at the end of the day, I made you.
It's always a tough thing, and it's almost impossible to value exactly how it will go for different reasons. I mean, there are quantitative ways, and then there are qualitative ways. In the example I gave about Dangote, it is almost impossible to put a value to what his endorsement will bring to me. It's almost impossible. Yes, we can use some hypothetical numbers, but if you were to put an exact amount, it would be impossible. But you can value how much the business is worth in terms of total assets, how much you've put in the business, how much the business owns, how much the business owes. Those are easy to value. But one thing that most founders, if you call them founders or business owners, one thing that comes to them as a rude shock is when they are pitching, and if the investor is interested in equity, they're usually alarmed that the investor wants to collect 50%. They say, for what now? Is it because you're bringing money? Why? But the question is, without the money, is your business going anywhere? So he's bringing something. He's taking, his real skin is inside this game. He's putting his body, his blood inside. All you are bringing is an idea. Yes, it's a good idea, but it will remain an idea without money. So there's usually a sense of being cheated by the founders down the line. So before you get investors into your business, you are going to need to sit down and do some calculations. Ask yourself, how much of my business am I willing to let go of if it does happen? And most times we will say, be very careful about giving away anything more than 20%. Be very careful, because by the time you are hitting 30%, you are almost losing your what's the word? You're beginning to dilute your equity. So be careful. But again, you also need to know, and that's why I tell people, try to explore other options before you go into equity, before you start, because as long as I own a stake in that business, I can sell my stake. Again, that also brings you to the conditions, underlying conditions. So look at it. Don't value your business without a professional. The professionals who sit down and value, because there's also the potential value of the business. Some businesses don't look like, let's not call brands, but if you look at the fincos or the fintech companies, there are some of them at 5 years ago, they didn't look anything like where they are today. But hey, look where they are today. As at that time, the people who put their money in it, there was something they saw, and it was probably bigger than what the founders saw. That's why the investors were willing to stake their money. So be careful before you sign up some. It's difficult to put the exact value, but understand that there will always be the quantitative and the qualitative value.
All right, final break, and when we come back, we round off and say our goodbyes. Stay tuned.